Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Ernie, and today we have another story for you, and this one is a doozy. So make sure to like and comment, and let me know your worst stream experiences. I'm actually very curious about your guys' experiences and what other people have gone through. So yeah, just make sure to let me know. That being said, let's get into it. So this story kind of begins around a year ago. So this was actually more recent. This was the last time I took shrooms. So after this experience, that actually I stopped completely, at least for now. I do plan on taking more in the future. That's probably kind of the plan. But right now I'm kind of just chill. That experience kind of like set me straight from shrooms for a little bit. But we're gonna kind of dive in here. So I have this family friend. We're gonna call her Sam, just because I don't want to actually say her real name. So Sam, and her husband, Michael. We're gonna call him Mike. So Sam and Mike are a couple. They're a hipster couple. It's a family friend of mine. They're more millennials. They're from California. Very hipster couple. Very chill couple. They actually grow their own shrooms and weed, which is really cool. So I would actively go to their house and buy some shrooms occasionally. Get a little trip in. I'd mostly do the trips at their house because they were just they would trip with me. They would enjoy it. It'd be a great time, and that's where I tripped for the most part. When I was kind of doing it back then, and this is when I first had met my girl, and I was like, hey, yo, I actually know some people that want to do grow shrooms and shit like that if you're interested. So we go over there like once or twice and have just normal shroom trips. First time was awesome. I remember just like turning around looking at like a patch of trees, dude, and it was just the weirdest shit in the world. There's actually a video of us tripping. It was actually really funny on their Ring camera, us going inside to their guest bedroom and staying the night, but that's not what the story is about. So this was like the third or fourth time we had gone to their house to shroom trip and just kind of stay the night and chill out. And this time, wasn't much different. We were kind of just did the same thing. We would just, pull up, be like, yo, what's up? Slide the money. Then they'll weigh out the shrooms, give it to us. And then we'll, take them from the baggie, put them on our food, make a pizza, chill, play a board game, smoke some weed. It was all chill and chillax. We were at, Sam was chilling. She popped some shrooms. Mike's actually a fucking volunteer firefighter, so he didn't really get too high that night. He kind of just smoked some weed, took a couple of shots, and that was all good. So we took a couple of shots, smoked some weed, and then he weighed out the baggies before Mike went to bed. And then Mike brought out the shroom baggies, gave them to us, and we took them. And when we took them, my girl, she kind of didn't really enjoy the taste because, like we said in the last episode, shrooms taste like shit. The consistency is horrible. I'm gonna reiterate this one more time for those of you that are watching this for the first time and haven't seen the last episode. Shrooms do not taste good at all, dude. They taste like fucking grass. They're gnarly. The texture is just not there, dude. It is genuinely nasty shit to ingest. That being said, the experience is well worth it. Maybe not when you're actually eating it, but once you actually get through that into the experience, is pretty enjoyable. Now, that being said, my girlfriend, she's not not handling it. So she kind of yaks up a little bit, goes to the bathroom, yaks a little bit, comes back out, and then Sam's feeling a little bad, so she's like, you know what, I'm not going to charge you any extra. I'll give you some more just to take, so you're a little leveled out. And that's whatever, that's all good. So she takes hers, and then, so her trip's going to be a little delayed than mine because she couldn't even like ingest and start, So the shrooms that she initially took were just completely out of her system. No bueno. So, I start tripping around like an hour later, and I'm chilling. I'm perfectly fucking fine. I'm fucking seeing shit, looking at the ceiling, having a good time, and then a little bit towards the end of the trip, nothing really crazy happened during the actual trip itself. That's not really where the story kind of takes off. The normal trip itself was pretty normal. Euphoric feeling, you're looking around at things moving, having a good time, taking an occasional peek at the mirror, but not for too long because you don't want to go on a psychosis. You just have an average fucking shroom trip. And Sam goes to sleep, and they're kind of and she's just chilling. They're asleep. We're in the living room watching Invincible, just chilling. And I go to the bathroom and I realize, oh crap, we didn't really clean out the toilet or anything after my girl yacked up. So I kind of get to clean in. I grab a piece of toilet paper, like I grab some toilet paper, wrap it up, and then I kind of wipe the rim of the toilet seat, and then I just flush it, let all the the yak and shit around the bowl just kind of flushed down, and we're all good. And then I stand up and I look in the mirror and I just get kind of lightheaded. I feel like really lightheaded, very, very sweaty all of a sudden, like out of nowhere. It kind of just came out of absolutely nowhere. And then, I'm standing there, whatever. And then, my back starts hurting. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is my back hurt? And then all of a sudden, I wake up on the floor. Like, in the last episode, for those of you that actually watch, what I was referring to when Nick passed out was that he said that he saw himself fall. I had the same thing. I saw myself fall and then my back hurt and then I woke up on the floor. And the thing is, I actually seized when I went on the floor. And the reason I knew that is because I was laying down sleeping, and then obviously I wake up, but I wake up and my eyes are like, how when you're convulsing, your eyes kind of go up in your eyes and it like shakes hella. I literally physically felt my eyes doing that, and I had to kind of like readjust them when I finally came to, and it was hella weird. So I was just on the floor, between in between the bathroom door and the hallway and the bathroom at Sam's house. And I wake up, and initially I think I'm like at my house or some shit, and I'm on the come down from the high, by the way. I'm not really even tripping anymore. I'm not really even seeing anything. This is like 3 hours after all that happened, and we playing board games and stuff. That was like a while ago. So my girl's laying on the couch watching Invincible, and she's like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I think I just passed out." And the second that I realized I passed out, I instantly thought about Nick. I instantly was like, "Dude, that's exactly what happened to Nick. That motherfucker just passed out." So I was like, "Yeah, I think I just passed out." Not realizing that I had actually seized. So apparently, this, according to, I don't really remember this part, but I get up, I go to the couch, and I lay on my girl's lap, and I'm just like, "Dude, I do not feel good at all." I felt like absolute shit. Apparently I was hella pale and I was sweating and I was fucking just not good at all, dude. And mind you, this entire time I am off of like 3 shots, a handful of shrooms, and a bunch of weed, and I've been drinking Monster, and it's just literally just not a good time, and it is completely my fault because I had not drinking water, and I was on 3 different substances at once, dude. I do not recommend it. If you want to cross, just do weed and shrooms and drink water, bro. Never involve alcohol in that, bro. It is the worst mistake you'll make in your life, bro. It was absolutely miserable, dude. Never do it. This is my PSA to you all, bro. If you all are getting into this shit, and you're like, damn, I want to try shrooms and alcohol, don't do it, bro. Not worth it. Do them separately, have fun with them, never together, bro. I barely drink alcohol as is, so it didn't help at all. That being said, though, I lay down on my girl's lap and I kind of fall asleep. I'm kind of like hella sleepy for some reason. So I kind of just close my eyes and fall asleep. And then apparently when I did that, I started snoring like really loud. And then I started convulsing on her lap. And then my girl has like panic disorder. So she kind of starts freaking out and goes into like a really, really bad panic attack. And she goes into like a 3-hour panic attack after this first thing happens. She just kind of gets up and then she's like, "Are you okay? You okay? You okay?" And then she kind of gets up, goes to Sam and Mike's room, kind of is just like, Sam, Mike, Ernie's passed out. He's gone. He's passed out. And I'm just like, and that kind of wakes me up. And then, I wake up for the second time and I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? So, I'm kind of like, it's all good. I'm fine. Just give me some water. I'm really dehydrated. I just need some water. That'll be good. And in the end, that is actually all what I needed. I just needed some water and to throw my shit up. But she like gets me water and like I'm holding the water and I like take a sip and then and then I black out again and then I seize again and I fall on the floor and I just like dump water all over myself, dude. And I fucking lost the lid of my water bottle, which was the worst part, bro. Is like I lost the lid to my fucking favorite water bottle of all time, and I still have not found it to this day, bro. And that is still the saddest thing that ever happened to me to this day, bro. Horrible shit. Rip that fucking water bottle lid, bro. I'll never find it again. I still don't know where it is, bro. They never found it. It's sad. But anyways, so I wake up on the floor fucking drenched, and my girl's freaking the fuck out. She finally gets Sam and Mike out. Mike fucking comes out in his underwear, dude, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm kind of freaking out because I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm passing out. Apparently I'm pale as shit. Apparently I was blue and I was like purple as fuck. And then Sam comes out too, and she's like, yo, what the hell is going on out here? And I'm kind of trying to explain. I'm like, dude, I'm like passing out. I don't know what's going on. And I kind of walk across the living room, to like a single chair, and then apparently I see it again, and this time it was like the worst one. Like, I was purple, dude, and it was bad. But Sam actually has been around this for a lot of her life. She actually has a pretty gangster backstory, but I'm not going to get into that. That's her business. But she knows how to get someone out of a seizure, so she does the little knuckle trick on my chest, and that kind of gets me out of it. And that's the final seizure. That's the fourth seizure. That's final. That's it. And I fucking finally get up, and I stand up immediately, and I'm just like freaking out. I'm like drinking water, and she's just like, okay, you just need to sit down. You need to like stop freaking out. You do not have a lot of blood circulating in your body right now. So I'm like, okay, whatever, sure. So we kind of gravitate towards the kitchen where I'm near the sink so I can get water. And I just sit down on the floor. Mind you, my girl is still freaking the fuck out, and she's like I said, a 3-hour panic attack. So she was kind of just like in and out, and kind of just being like, baby, are you okay? And then she'll kind of go out of it and just kind of just freak the fuck out, hysterically crying. And it was just a whole fucking mess. And I'm fucking sitting on the floor, like barely alive. I feel like, dude, I feel like I'm half fucking dead, and I'm like sipping water or whatever, and then I kind of pass out a little bit again. But this time, like, I don't seize or anything like that. I just kind of pass out for like half a second, and then instantly, dude, with no control at all, I just throw up on the floor. And I do that, and then I'm just like, oh shit, I don't really want to throw up on this person's floor, so I kind of get up and just throw up in the sink. And it probably would have been better to do it in the garbage can because it was right there, but I do it in the sink. And unfortunately the sink was full of dishes, dude, and that did not help at all because I had to clean that shit up the next day. But I do that, and then I'm just kind of like, oh my god, dude, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. I still didn't feel great, don't get me wrong. I still felt like absolute fucking shit, but I felt a lot better after I threw up, and that just kind of fixed everything, and that kind of snapped me back into place for the most part. And honestly, I was kind of just chilling after that, but my girl was so freaking out, and that's whatever, and that's all good. I'm able to manage that, because I'm just good with that. I'm kind of good in chaotic situations, when I'm not the reason it's chaotic. You know what I mean? So I kind of snap too, and then I kind of clean up my throw up. Sam starts cleaning up my throw up. I don't know why she started doing that, like mopping up my throw up. I'm like, dude, I can mop up my throw up, and then she doesn't like that, so she goes and like yaks, and then kind of just goes to bed at that point. And she's just like, make sure to lay down, drink lots of water, calm down, and then just go to the bedroom and just sleep it off. And that's kind of what we did. And yeah, and then we kind of, and then I just woke up, dude, and I just woke up with like this feeling of dread, just like this feeling of just like, dude, that was like the worst, most traumatic experience of my life. Like, I had never tripped that bad on anything in my entire life. Like, that was easily to this day like the worst drug experience I've ever had in my life. And I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else. So I mean, that's kind of the story of that whole situation. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone ever. Don't mix alcohol and fucking mushrooms, dude. It is not you're not going to be in for a good time. Let me know your guys' stories. Let me know if you guys have ever seized off the shrooms as well. Thank you guys for watching this video. That kind of wraps it up on the Shroom Chronicles, the finale. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, guys. Peace.